spastic me? I have ADD. DD. DDD. D. I should have stopped after just 2, but unspent energy made me push on through and add, with much built-up glee, the additional 6 unneeded Ds. I have been diagnosed this academic quarter with an attention deficit disorder. Teachers all echoed, I just couldn't sit still, wanting to shove my mouth full of little round pills. My failure to listen to boring lectures while in my seat caused the school psychologist to repeat, I have ADD. DD. DDD. D. As a child, some people may get perplexed or confused. The adults around them will ask questions, and some of these questions can lead to diagnoses. One such diagnosis is for attention deficit disorder, also known as ADD. As an adult with ADD, it is very easy to cope with your condition, or at least a lot more easy than as a child. As a child, whenever you're called different, there are stigmas and challenges ahead of you for a long time. This program, with pieces from Brian Wheeler, Becky and Goldberg, Sarah Hanna, Sherman Alexi, and Zuri Hassan, called Inside My ADD, is a generalization of those feelings. How many days I can't think. So when I do think, it's something to hang on to. But these dark times are just like those dark times, and I know I could not have convinced you of this. My parents fought it at first, fearing a decision made in haste, claiming my excess creativity was a refreshing splash of color in a world made of haste. But with 11 educated minds claiming my world must be closed in, I was lovingly pumped full of the choice drug, Ritalin. The hideout at the end of the narrow, nameless black road, indistinguishable from the other. Yesterday is as relentless as tomorrow. There is no relief to be found in this. But please, yours is not the worst of sorrows. Chekhov wrote that. He meant it as a comfort, and I believe I mean it as a comfort too. But why? Why should you believe us? You, a stranger. Heck, you didn't believe us. How can you see what I see? Is it not that our eyes are different? Are the clouds I see the same ones you see? How can you hear what I hear? Is it not that our ears are different? Are the sounds you hear the same I hear? How can you feel what I feel? Is it not that our hearts are different? Are the emotions you feel the same ones as I feel? And finally, how can you understand what I understand? Is it not that our minds are different? Are the thoughts you have the same ones I have? How do you even know me if I don't even know myself? 11 educated minds that I refuse to acknowledge. However, immediately I ceased to move about. As my thoughts became clouded, I was lost in a bland planet. My ideas on life had been shrouded. My God, what has happened to what used to be me? Please give me back my ADD. DD. DDD. D. The long, black road that twists and forks relentlessly, so that unless you know the way, you'll never find it. Unless, of course, your brain manages to work that way, in which case, not only do you damn well know which way you're going, but you can't survive without it. A real house, unclaimed by any country. Book of deeds unmarked on any map. Unrung by doorbell or by phone. Just stop. Stop and think about that for a moment. A space with no title. At 5, I swore I would sleigh ride to every country on the lap of St. Nick, as both reporter and photographer for National Geographic. At 7, my future career made a drastic switch, as my finger paintings of dinosaurs and rocket ships using colors not normally combined and requiring 15-minute explanations each time. 9 was a dramatic shift as school became something I deplored. I found my teachers didn't like me. When I finished early and became bored, I was yelled at for asking stupid questions while out of my seat or for doodling bunnies with wings on the edges of my worksheet. It was then I first heard the whispers you see of the meaningless letters A, D, 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 D. Up to this point I had made straight A's. Test him for gifted is what they'd say. But for some reason Mr. Roth labeled me trouble. I started to fail, despite my efforts being doubled. I became angry as I was humiliated in front of my peers, forced to sit by myself listening to mumbled jeers. At this point I hated Mr. Roth. I hated school. I hated my classmates for labeling me the fool. I hated my parents, who were beginning to fold, for not seeing me as me, but what they had been told. Summer came around and I was once again free. I screamed to hell with those meaningless letters. A, D, D. D, D. D, D, D.